Okay, so in this video, well, talk about the previous videos. So up until now, we've created a customers class which can initialize my database and create a table. It can create a unique ID for the primary key, and it can also add a customer into my customers table. Okay, it inherits from a database class, which is responsible for the connection string, the connection, opening and creating the database, and closing the database, as well as providing us with a command. Now, up until now, my form has remained absolutely empty. There's nothing's going on here. And in order to test this, all I've done is basically added a few little dummy bits and bobs here, and just to kind of test that it works. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, I don't want to do that. Well, do I want to do that? Yeah. So, okay, so what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to start adding some bits and bobs to my form, just to kind of make it a bit useful. Now, the first thing, and I've noticed a lot of people do this, is they leave it called form 1. Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to call it customers. Now, can't do... Oh, hang on, just offset. So let's just do this. So let's call it FM customers. Okay. So firstly, I'm renaming the file, so I want to rename the class. Now notice that I've called it FM customers for form and not customers. Well, I've already got a class here called customers, and we can't have two things called customers. So let's one thing at a time. And yeah, I'm going to just keep it all the same. Now I'm just going to change this because, well, why wouldn't you? Okay, so at least it says customers at the top. Get my toolbox out. And I'm just going to add a couple of things. So I'm going to add 2 text boxes. Keep this really simple. Where's the text box? Okay, I'm going to have one text box there, another text box here. Okay, and let's just make this a little bit bigger and make that a little bit bigger. And I'm going to have 2 labels, one there. And do you know what? I'm just going to go copy and paste. Oh, wish I hadn't done that now. Right, there we go, label 2, and we'll add that there. So this one here is going to say name, and this one here is going to say age, okay? And we'll have one button down here, and we'll call that submit, okay? And I'm going to just change these property names a little bit. So this one here is going to be called, where has it gone? Right, text box name, and then this one here is going to be called text box age. Okay, we'll call the button submit, like that. Okay, right. So here's the code that I want to happen when I go to submit. Right. So the first thing is I want my form, my customers form, to always have a customers class. Okay. Okay, so it's going to be like that. And in my constructor, that's where we initialize our things. So it's initializing the component now. But I need to create a new object of customers. So here we go, customers. In fact, look, it's even, if you're in 2022, it's even figured out that's what I'm going to do. So it says tab. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Look at that. So I've now created a customers object, so I can do stuff. So I don't need that anymore. Okay. Now, when the form loads, I do want to check that the initialize is there. But, oh, by the way, here's a cool thing, right? If you click on something and you press F12, it takes you to the thing. Now it's doing a create, but we want to just check. Do you know what? I'm going to just take the initialize out for the time being, and I'm going to do another video on checking to see if a table exists or not, because I think there's a fancy SQL thing you can do on there. So let's just, for the time being, take out the initialize. We've already initialized our customers database, so we're going to go there. But what we are going to do, so let's go to the form customers. When I double click on submit, it creates, oh, okay, why has that gone form load? Hang on. Right, I don't understand why it's gone form load. Right, I'm just going to pause it just for a second. Okay, I'm not quite sure what's going on, so I'm going to see if this works. So I don't know if you know this, but if you click on here, if I click on, so normally you're on this one here, so where we've got all the text and all various bits and bobs. If you click on this lightning thing, this is basically saying when there's a click, it's going to call this button, this function here. I'm not quite sure why it's called button click 1. I want it to be button click, so I'm going to do this, and I'm going to manually enter it. Okay. Now it's being a bit rubbish, but basically it looks like this. So I'm pasting that in, and then you just literally copy and paste this. You don't have to worry too much about it, and don't worry what these things do. We don't need them in this particular case. Now, I'm a little bit concerned that this might not work, so I'm just going to put a breakpoint there, and I'm going to run it, and just see that this is linking these two things up together. Now, there is one possible explanation. This hasn't actually loaded up properly. So this isn't quite working as I was hoping. And the other thing that might be happening, whoops, is it might be adding my button click to this bit here. So there's my, okay, maybe it's not. This is very bizarre. So why is it, let's just do a quick build. Run it again. So that's loading form 1, right, okay, so the last thing to check is this thing down here. So it's loading form customers. And we go into form customers. Right, look, I tell you what, here's what we can try. So let's put a breakpoint on here. I wonder if something's crashing. So I'm just going to do the other thing as well. I'm just going to do a clean solution. Do a rebuild. And, oh, hang on, there's some warnings here. Oh, okay, it's just to do with the com, so let's not worry about that. Right, let's step inside there. So we're coming in, so I'm just going to keep stepping, so F11. So it's gone to form load, so that's fine. No, that's interesting, so it doesn't actually go inside. Hang on. I'm a little bit confused why it's not doing this. Let's just put a breakpoint in there. F5. Right, here we go. So it initializes the components. See what happens here. Okay, so it opened that fine, so that's okay. And then it's running it. Okay, so form load. Okay, I'm just going to pause this for a sec. Okay, so I figured out what the problem is. At least I didn't figure out what the problem was. For whatever reason, the designer wasn't being updated when I was adding new widgets to the screen. And this is kind of one of the things where it's a really good idea to kind of check as you go along. So it really just, something had happened. Now, what I ended up doing was shutting down Visual Studio, opening up again, and all my work had disappeared. So, top tip, right? Press this often. And also, just do little bits. Okay, so I've got a few little things and a button going. And what I've done is I've double clicked on my submit here, and it has actually generated the function I was hoping for now. And I just put a little breakpoint there and pressed F5 to make sure it's working. And if I just click submit now, it stopped. So it's at this point here. So I know it's working. And seriously, the top tip is do a little bit. Don't do lots of coding. You know, create empty functions and then run them and see if they work. Right. So what I'm going to do here is it's really easy. Here's my customers. So I've got a customers, and now I'm in a situation where, look, all I need to do is write one line of code. Watch. Customers. Dot add. Okay. And in my design, this thing here is called text box name. So here we go. Text box name dot text, and we need to convert it into an int. So I'm just going to do, well, look, I tell you what, do you know what, let's do this properly, okay, so that you understand. So the first one is going to be called the name, and that is equal to text box name dot text. Okay, and the aid equals, I'm going to need to convert to int 32, text box age dot text, like that. Okay, and now all I need to do here is go name age, and that's it. Let's just see if this works. I'm not even going to run through it. Oh, hang on. Oh no, what's going on? Right. Oh, missing. Okay, one of them. Let's see if that works again. Let's do a quick build. Brilliant. 5. Here we go. Right, come on then. So we've got Bob, we've got Sue. Let's go for a Malika. How old is she? She is going to be 32. Submit. Okay, I think that worked. And let's go for Jane. And Jane is 43. Submit. Now let's just see if that worked. So here we go. Into the database. Load it up. Have a look at customers. Oh, look at that. So we've got unique IDs. And we've got all of their various bits and bobs there. And this is working nicely because we've got the customers is doing all the heavy lifting for us. Okay, that's created the table. That gets the new ID. And this is the code now that allows me to add in some bits and bobs. Now, a few things to make this really good. Okay, what I would really like to be able to do, and do you know what? It's ages since I did this. I can't remember where it was, but there is somewhere. There is a thing. Ah, there we go. Order. No, there is something that allows me. But is it Control T? No, it's not Control T. In fact, you know what? I'll come back in a sec and I'll just find it. Just a second. Right. Okay. Here we go. So what you can do is you go to View, Tab Order, and then you click in the order you want them to be. So I want that to be the first one. Then I want that one. Then that one. Okay. And I don't want that. So I'm just going to make those like that. So that's 0, 1, 2. Let's just see if this works. So now by default, that one's automatic focus. So let's go Harry, age 75. And if I press tab, it goes to submit, so I can do stuff straight away. So that's the first thing. So that's pretty cool. Okay, now the next thing is you'll notice that when I press submit, nothing happens. Okay, so what I could do is firstly, so this is going to add there. So what I could do is I could do something like message box. Oh, I can't remember. Is it what's it? Interaction dot message box. Oh, I can't remember. However you do message box. I could put a message box up. But at the very least, what I want to do is I want to say the text box name dot text equals the empty string, and I want the text box age dot text is also going to be the empty string, and finally I want to focus back on the name. So here we go, text box name dot focus. Oh, hang on, is that right? I've spelt it wrong. Text box name dot. Oh my goodness, this is driving me insane. Let's do copy and paste. Dot focus. There we go. So let's just see if that works. So here we go. So we've got Liz. Let's go 65. Enter. Ah, brilliant. And now it's gone straight back to the top. So we've got the beginnings of a really cool thing. Okay, so that's the end of that.